Boy, these meltdowns are unbelievable. This is beyond Bobby Cox, who was an umpire agitator. This is probably equal to Earl Weaver, who every time he came out of the dugout, he was kicking dirt on the umpire's shins and on home plate. Aaron Boone is just in total meltdown stage. Now, he's got a team that's got all kinds of problems. I mean, the injury list is utterly ridiculous. Better team on the disabled list than actually on the field. I don't know where the general manager, Brian Cashman, is right now because he was kind of silent at the trade deadline. Now, they got some young players they brought up. Maybe there's nothing left in the farm system. They sure paid a lot of money to a lot of guys who got hurt, and they paid some real money to guys that have not contributed at all this season because of injuries. So Boone is going crazy with all the home plate umpires. This has been a continuing saga, I'd say, since June. So he just got tossed out of his 6th game in like the last 2.5 months, and he's been fined and he's been suspended. So he goes haywire over balls and strikes count. He comes out of the dugout, which is an automatic ejection coming out of the dugout to bark about balls and strikes. And he puts on a tantrum that I have not seen since Earl Weaver flipped his hat and was kicking the umpire's shin guards and kicking dirt on the plate. He stands at the batter's box. I don't know if you've seen the video. He stands at the batter's box and he takes his spikes in his hand and he draws a new line for the batter's box. And then he's standing there going right in the umpire's face. And then he turns around, comes back and goes, the ejection salute.
Yeah. So
he was ejecting the umpire.
So he's mocking the umpire with all of his gestures.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There'll be a letter from the commissioner's office. Please send your check to MLB on Park Avenue, New York. What an absolute disaster. But they've got so many problems there. You know, they lost Aaron Judge. He's hit 1 home run since they came off the DL. He had the real significant toe injury when he ran into the fence at Dodger Stadium. Giancarlo Stanton has not really paid back on the investment they made a couple of years ago when they got him out of Miami. DJ LeMahieu, who's been chronically hurt. I mean, he's one of the top hitters in the American League a year ago. Josh Donaldson is just done. The shortstop, third baseman's got a chronic calf. Anthony Rizzo's go back on the IL. First it was back. Now it's a concussion symptom thing that goes back a couple of months. Harrison Bader, their center fielder, can't stay on the field. He's got calf injuries, hip injuries, etc. Domingo Germán, who had thrown a no-hitter a couple of weeks ago, he's left the club. He's been removed. He's been sent to alcohol rehab. Carlos Rodon, they gave a ton of money to. He's had 3 different injuries. He's back on the IL. And Frankie Montas, who they traded for from the A's, blew his elbow out. He's in surgery. He's not made enough progress to come back. So, I mean, the Yankees roster is a mess. Their GM is either paralyzed or just does not want to trade any young guys away. And the manager he needs psychiatric care, and he might get fired. I mean, they're struggling to stay above 500. The Yankees above 500. Can you believe that?
It's unbelievable. And, you know, it's probably a Gerrit Cole and Aaron Judge against the world, right? Yep. I mean, they're just surrounded by a bunch of other, you know, AAA guys. But, you know, you talk about Aaron Boone and getting ejected. The balls and strikes calls are just terrible. I mean, I was watching the Padre game last night against the Mariners, and the Mariners pitcher is getting called strikes like 3-4 inches off the plate. And, you know, the Padres, you're trying to, you know, take pitches, work the count, and you can't do that when the umpire is so erratic. So get me the Robo Ump. I want the Robo Ump, and I think a lot of this frustration will go away. But in Aaron Boone's case, I think he's just blowing up because his team is stinking up the joint, and he just needs to try to create some energy.
I got new glasses. Do you think I should send these to the third base ump and the first base ump? I've never seen in recent times so many missed. Was it a swing? Was it a not?
Yeah.
And then go back on replay and say, oh, dude, he broke his wrist. That should be a strike. They keep calling balls. And so what are these guys looking at? Chewing gum, girls in the stands, first base, third base umpire. They keep mistaking, was it a swing or not? And then the replay shows us, upon further review, that guy at third base, the guy at first missed the call again.
Well, I think the strategy of batters now is to work that count and to work for walks. Everyone understands the value of on-base percentage. So now these umpires are getting exposed. And, you know, now they're, you know, balls that otherwise would have been swung at are now being taken. I mean, Soto takes so many borderline pitches, and he usually gets a break from the ump sometimes. But yeah, the whole system is breaking down. These umpires, they just don't have what it takes to call it accurately. You've talked about how, these pitchers are dashing and darting all over the strike zone. It's hard to call a game back there. Bring me the Robo Ump.
Okay. Then you'll be screaming about the computer. So that's what's going on in baseball. Hey, you like baseball, jump on board our fans forum. We will get to your questions, your answers, your statements coming up at the end of our podcast. Let's